bit different, and this actually affects the efficiency if I understand the problematic correct. And one of the solution or the suggested solution was to have a harmonized standard that everybody has to follow this harmonized standard. But this can be rough and can be difficult for small players and medium-sized players. And then we thought that if this is the solution, then it will be only big companies who's going to survive. And in this case, we need a new solution. And the solution probably to have initiative, to have incentives to small and medium-sized companies so they can survive and so they can survive in these rigid regulations. That's one of the challenges. Probably I can brainstorm now for other challenges that can be in smart energy monitoring system. It's basically the lack of a common platform. You have different companies that are providing equipment, and if you want to implement energy efficiency in your plant or in your house or whatever, then you need a common software that can connect all of this equipment and try to increase the efficiency and find out where you have the losses in each part of these components. And now if you have one company providing this, they can provide only their platform, and other companies, they provide also a separate platform. But we don't have a common one that can connect all of them and can help to reduce this energy. So that's one of the challenges that I can see.
I just heard an opportunity from you.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm just kidding. It's like it sounded like there is an opportunity out there to actually find a company that or something, a solution that can connect all this. We've spoken about IoT, you've spoken about that, but IoT is only limited to specific apps or specific target audience. Also, just a comment about you were saying about the municipalities, different standards and so on. That is because of the tender process in Norway. It's not standardized. It is what it is. The lowest price wins, and also the preference of the people working in the same industry or working together. And that also where we go to the next one, which is the social impact on minorities. It's like there's a lot of, when I talk about minorities, I'm not only talking about minorities for women or migrants or something, but also minorities in SME, because SME are 90% in the industry as well. They are the one that are lifting up the economy of Norway. 90%. That's a lot, right? But they are being squished out by the bigger players in the market. So, give the word to you.
Okay, what can we do about that? I am a foreigner too, born in Poland, raised in Sweden, and I came to Norway in 2010. So I worked for Renovationsetaten, Baby Offshore, Architect Bureau, and Telenor. And I've been in the military for 20 years, so I have this hierarchy way of seeing things. And then you're coming to Norway, and they're sitting around a round table, and you don't know who the boss is, who is leading this ship. And I'm like impressed over that Telenor actually works, even though you don't know who the boss is. I worked at Mast and Towers with the engineers. So how do minority people like Swedes, yeah, even we are Swedes, minority in this country, how can we get into the board meetings and come up higher up? And I've learned that it's hard to get into the Norwegian culture and into the Norwegian families and get friends. It took me a couple of years. And you are lovely people, but there is a wall. And I've learned that if you're nice and you start to learn the janteloven, learn how you function and lie that you like brunost and pinnekjøtt. I don't like that, but stuff like that, then you get in. But in the companies, it's harder. You have to prove yourself as a foreigner. And I understand where it comes from. I understand your culture. It's all the way back to the Viking Age. You have been living in a country that is very tough to socialize in. I mean, going over a hill, and the hills are huge. And you have to have a boat, and it took a couple of weeks to go around. So I understand why you are like this. But for us foreigners, it's tough when we come into this society and into the companies. I don't know if we have a solution yet, but I think this is something we need to talk with Norwegians. And I know many Norwegians are now working up abroad and learning how foreigners act. And you come home and you take that knowledge with you. So the young people, they have it in them and they want to change. And I've heard it a lot about it. And so I don't know the solution, because we need Norwegians to speak about it. This is a solution from the Norwegian people. We are here, we have lots of knowledge, we want to do a lot of things with Norway, we want to help Norway, we love Norway, us foreigners here. That's why we're still here. And how can we meet halfway? That is the question here. How do we meet? I love Norway, it's a beautiful country. I like the round table thought. It's a very feminine energy. It's not so harsh. It's not so military. It's not so hierarchies. Like if you go to Germany, for example, or America, China even, they have that. But here you can talk to the boss up here, and you can talk to this person there, and really solve problems. You don't have these steps. You have to go. And that's a big positive thing with Norway. So we can fix this, but how do we cross this barrier, this fear that Norwegians have to foreigners? And I'm sending that question out to Norwegians, because I don't have the answer to that. I'm not scared of foreigners. I was that before, and I learned to accept people, learn to listen to people, so I can teach Norwegians how to do this.
Interesting. Yeah. And I think we're getting tight on time as well, because we promised to end this by 8. The conversation was going a little bit far, but so let's try to wrap this up as soon as possible. So give the opportunity to the last two people in the yes.
Sure. Thank you. I'm an independent artist and working mostly with. Okay, I will start. I don't know how this speech will come, but it's not only a matter of resources or skills, but also it's like to evaluate how tired we are feeling for this running, of non-ending running to solutions that actually are not giving us a point at all. So my point is, like, we are still in diapers. Doesn't matter in which part of the chain we are. We are running too fast that we are missing the opportunity to make a gentle gestures for making us gathering together. My experience is like institutions like the government and private sector, they don't know either how to talk each other. So either I or either us, most of the money is in technology, really little in the social work. So my point is like to teach kids how I sneak inside of the system and I teach them how to make projects into reality, how to make dreams come true, how to gather all the cultures together and say that our understanding of spirituality, of grandparents' knowledge, or how to bring all these things that really matter, not only from our house, but outside in the community. So we can feel that we can trust, we can feel like we can share knowledge, we can feel like everything is possible, but we need to start to find the keys and the models that will make us come together.
Thank you. Yes, Paul.
Well, you said you had a question for me, but I guess.
Yeah, well, I guess I'm just gonna accumulate all that they said and dump it on your head.
Oh well, thanks very much.
Yeah.
No pressure.
That's why I brought you here. Right now, I mean, just to sort of like we see all the challenges with sharing data, privacy, trust, so on and so forth, and then trickling into more holistic thinking. Because how do you feel that technology can bring all this together? How do you feel that we could look at it more holistically?
I'm not sure about. Okay, I have something to say, but it's not so much focused on technology really. But what sort of comes to mind is that all the problems that we are discussing here are actually created by us. They're human created problems. So it's very interesting to sort of be in the weeds and to sort of understand the complexities of this and try and sort of dissect it. But what I've noticed is that all of this is driven by our own behaviour, and what I've noticed, at least in my own life, is that the more that I work on myself, the less some of those needs that I've had are as prevalent as they used to be. So thinking, for example, about the pyramid of needs, Maslow's Behovspyramid. So the idea is that the further you become self-actualized, the less that you are, you have a need for material wealth, for example. Or, of course, you have the basic needs that are it's shelter, sex. The third one, I can't remember. Food, thank you. Yeah, I need food as well. But then you have psychological needs catered for, emotional needs catered for, and the more that you self-actualize, the less you become dependent on these material needs. And of course, it's kind of that also means the material needs are catered for. But what are your material needs? You don't need 5 properties or goodness knows how many wardrobes full of clothes. You don't need those things. And of course, this is complex because the system that we've built requires that we buy stuff. This is maybe where technology comes back in, because if you look at a lot of the companies that have been disrupting the world, they tend to be dematerializing the economy, actually. So I was listening to a podcast this morning that talked about Kodak, the Kodak moment, when the first digital camera was invented by someone who worked at Kodak, and I think it was a 0.1 megapixel camera, black and white or something. And he used a tape machine to actually store the photo. And Kodak basically said, this is not going to work. And of course, we all know now that was their downfall. But the interesting thing is that the photography industry at the time was very much predicated on selling stuff, selling objects that would basically allow you to create better photographs. And now we're in a time where we're creating how many exabytes of photographs every day, how many photographs are taken today, and there's no material need for that to actually happen, but there's still an economy around it. So I guess what I'm saying is, of course, there are some limitations here, but if you look at Airbnb, you look at Uber, you look at data, how that's being shared, and the economy that's built up around that, it's obviously possible to build very, very valuable companies through digital products. And then maybe we can actually find a way that we can actually have less of a reliance on material products. And then, of course, I know we spend a lot of time in the digital world, and I'm not advocating that. I think that's not healthy either. But maybe what we can actually do is find ways that we can spend more time focusing on nature, and also using the digital world more as a kind of way to sort of augment our lives in a healthy way. And also spend more time working on ourselves. Something else I find interesting, I just want to share this, it's kind of silly, but hopefully you get the point. So I've talked to Nima about this. I stopped buying packaged lentils in boxes with salt water and started buying the dried versions instead. And I found that they taste much better and it's much easier to work with them, and I can buy like a bag of lentils for 30 kroner and they'll last me for a month or something. So it kind of makes me wonder, what are we actually building, when we actually are in a situation where we're making these products that are actually, they're processed, or they're not really, let's say, fully utilising what the planet is giving to us. We've kind of built this artificial sort of system around them, and we're processing these things, but actually they're just fully available in their raw form. So I don't know where I'm exactly going with this. Hopefully the general energy of it is kind of being conveyed. But yeah, I think we need to change our priorities actually.
Thank you. So I think because one of the things that we want, because we didn't have a silver bullet, we didn't have an answer. We didn't know, oh, this is how it's going to work out. We didn't know that. The idea here is to bring people from different walks, artists and hardcore tech people, finance, marketing, and so on and so forth. Put them together and see what we come up with. And one thing that's for sure, because something I learned recently was that wherever there's a problem, there's an opportunity to make money, because all of us have to pay bills, right? And one thing that's for sure, that's why we started the panel discussion with what are the challenges, because wherever there's a challenge, there's a business opportunity there, right? We have kids to feed, we have whatnot stuff to do, right? So we see without a doubt there are so many challenges in society, in business, that need solving, right? And today we're going to take all the stuff you guys wrote down. So today we saw there are so many opportunities within sustainability. So the opportunity of within making this world a better place to live, a better tomorrow for our kids, right? And so on and so forth. So it's about transferring your entire business model into how can we serve that? We're for the first time in history, we're drowning in heaven, right? The whole reason we're having this word called sustainability is just we have too much, right? What do you do when you have too much, right? So, right? I call this a luxury problem, right? Should I have chocolate ice cream or mango ice cream, right? So that's the situation where we are. We are literally in luxury. We are literally having luxury problems. So then we see so many opportunities that you can steer your businesses, because you have Accenture and Capgemini, right? For example, right? IBM, are in very dominant positions to influence markets. Like other people listen to your voice. So your role is shifting and then just supplying into, whatever the customer wants or whatever the big market wants, and you're becoming, not like a TikTok influencer, but you're becoming in some way influencers, right? You're able to steer markets, right? And how could you take this knowledge and steer the market the way that you want to go, right? And just want to end with what Einstein said: the world will be destroyed not by those who do evil, but by those who watch them without doing anything, right? So either you're part of the problem or you're part of the solution. So where is it that you want to stand? Thank you very much, everyone.
I want to ask if we, I think this is really inspiring for being in Norway. I wonder if you are going to create this more often, so we can create a kind of a family where we feel confident to just hanging around and, I don't know.
Remember our name and we will do that.
Yeah? Okay.
Well, after I believe everyone was registered at the entrance, right? Yeah. So all of you will get information to continue this conversation. This is just the beginning of a journey. So we have, as we mentioned earlier on, this is not a business that we're doing. This is something we're doing out of pure passion, because we are very passionate about the future of the world, our families, humanity, every living thing. So we will continue this both physically and digitally, and all of you will be notified.